This president is literally incapable of climbing those stairs. They're no longer allowing him to use those stairs because he can't physically make his way up. We're also witnessing in our White House leadership that can destroy a country. Leadership that actually is feckless, takes the American people for granted, takes the law for granted, takes international norms for granted, and shows weakness to our enemies, foreign and domestic. His name is Joe Biden. He's the president of the United States. And here he was ascending the short stairs of Air Force One just yesterday. Oh, yeah. You know, Air Force One has that giant, majestic staircase that gets rolled out to the main door there at the front of that big converted 747. Or actually, it's a 777 now, I think, that they use. And there's something about the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, ascending that staircase, turning and waving to the people of his country or to the people in the country that he just visited to let them know that I'm in charge. Freedom is in good hands. We got you here. And we've got this incredible arsenal of power and technology that will be utilized to protect the freedoms and the hopes and the dreams of people around the world, as well as the people in the United States of America. Symbolism is so important with the presidency. It has been from the very first. You read about George Washington and how his uniform was important. The colors of his uniform were important. The color of his steed, his horse that he would march into town with when he was making an appearance. Symbolism was incredibly important for George Washington and every president since then. You're kidding yourself if you don't think it is. This president is literally incapable of climbing those stairs. They're no longer allowing him to use those stairs because he can't physically make his way up the staircase without stumbling, without tripping, and without assistance. So now he's using the short stairs. You see, Air Force One has multiple sets of stairs. I haven't been on Air Force One, but I've been on one of the planes that cabinet secretaries use. In fact, a little later in the program, I'm going to talk about the trip I took with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and other members of the media to South America. And yeah, the Secretary of State and his staff and important dignitaries, they come down the big stairs in the front, and we peons in the media, even conservative talk show hosts, we use the stairs in the back. And on Air Force One, they've got this other mini little set of stairs that come out from the belly that people in the media, other staff members, maybe even crew members of the plane, they take to get in and out. That's where Joe Biden's entering the plane now. Because even this White House recognizes how damaging it is to the presidency and to our nation to see him stumble. And he can't even do this right. We're going to watch it one more time. I also want you to watch at the base of the stairs. There's now a brand new Secret Service agent whose main detail it is to catch him if he falls. Watch. You see that guy in the suit there? He's coming around. Now, he's cropped out of the shot, but he's standing right at the bottom to catch him. See him? See his head there? To catch him if he falls. He has trouble ascending 10 steps. Oh, but you might be saying, listen, this is an elderly man, Larry. You know, it's understandable, right? I mean, it's hard for people to go upstairs. Okay. How about when gravity's working in your favor? Here we go. Boy, this is a very, very deliberate, slow approach. Did you see how he had to look at every single stair as he came down the stairs? Watch how he deliberately takes, with his hand on the rail. He almost wobbled there. I think he had to stop and right himself. He's pretending like he's looking. Now he's not looking at anybody now. He's looking straight down at every step as he barely makes it down without incident. Now, I point this out to you not because I'm trying to make fun of the president and not because I'm trying to ridicule him, although if that were the case, that would be fully within my rights. I mean, the second we can't sit down in front of a camera and publicly make fun of our president, we don't have a country anymore. And by the way, people like Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert, they have made a living doing that year after year after year. This really isn't about making fun of him. And it's certainly not about his age. Because that's all you're hearing now. If you notice, anyone who dares to talk about the president's lack of cognitive abilities, you hear them say, oh, well, you're raising the issue of his age, even if you're not actually raising the issue of his age. You see, the White House, Democrats, left-wing media, mainstream media, Biden apologists, they want to gaslight you and flip the script and immediately say, oh, it's a question of his age. And it's not. If we had an 81-year-old man who could joyfully run up the steps of Air Force One, I'd be thrilled. If we had an 81-year-old man who could project strength and power and agility and physical ability as well as mental acuity, that'd be great. And there are 81-year-old men who are fully capable of doing that. Joe Biden is not one of them. Joe Biden's problem is not his age. Joe Biden's problem is his ability and what his brain is actually doing right now as it attempts to function at a pretty high level. The reason why the media and the White House press secretaries are, whenever you raise a question about his cognitive ability, and they'll immediately say, oh, well, let's talk about his age. No, I don't care about his age. If he were 50 years old and he had mashed potato for brains, I'd have a problem with it. Wouldn't you? The reason why they keep pivoting and saying, oh, that this is about Joe Biden's age is because they immediately follow up and say, and as you know, Donald Trump is just 3 years younger than him. And there are a huge number of voters right now who really wish they didn't have a 77-year-old and an 80-year-old running for president. They do. And they know that. And they've tested it. And they've messaged it. And they've polled on it. And they know that most people think that both of them are too old. But look at what you just saw from Donald Trump at last night's town hall versus what we see on a regular basis from Joe Biden. And you tell me there's any similarity between the two, given the fact that they're only 3 years apart. And that's why they're doing it. This is all about twisting and warping the message coming out of the White House right now so that they're gaslighting you and making you think that the whole issue is Joe Biden's age. And it's not even close. Here's Fox News reporting right now about, again, whether the White House and the Democrats have a plan B going here because he's so debilitated.
But when he was boarding Air Force One to head to California at Joint Base Andrews, he had a little bit of a stumble on the stairs, heading up the stairs onto Air Force One, and he was wearing these dress shoes that we haven't seen him in as much recently. They've been putting him in sneakers because we had noticed that every time he's wearing the dress shoes seems to be when he is having issues on the stairs. But he wore those shoes and had a little bit of a stumble going up the stairs. So we will be watching to see if he switches back to the brand new black Hokas that he was spotted wearing in Delaware this past weekend, guys.
You would think his team would put, some sort of a grip on those stairs and put him in different shoes.
Well, Jackie, and those were the shorter stairs because I think he used to do the full flight and the White House changed that to the shorter version, right?
Can't somebody just carry him up the stairs?
I think that's an image that no one wants to see. But, typically they have him in the Cole Haan sneakers. They're like dress sneakers. And I mean, let's be honest, a lot of people wear those, including on the Hill. They're more comfortable. But, the president, especially when he's going to events, likes to wear dress shoes. And seeing him in the Cole Haans has been sort of a recent development in the last 6 months. But for whatever reason, ditched the dress shoes yesterday and had a slight stumble. I wouldn't say it's the worst of what we've seen. But there's a heightened awareness whenever anything like this happens, guys.
Well, he is 40 times 2. So now they're making a joke about it.
40 times 2 plus 1.
Okay, indeed.
Indeed. Yeah, we're talking about the president's shoes. We're talking about whether he's wearing Hoka tennis shoes or Cole Haan sneakers that are made to look like dress shoes. versus dress shoes. And as Jackie Henry said, yeah, a lot of people do that. You know who doesn't do it? Donald Trump. Remember when Donald Trump was at the commissioning ceremonies at West Point, and he had to walk. It wasn't actually commissioning ceremonies. It was something else going on at West Point because it was in the winter time, and he had to walk down the ramp from where he was standing, and he was taking his time because it was slippery. Do you remember how overanalyzed that was, and how the media like bent over backwards to talk about how his brain was broken and he had no mental capacity anymore, and that there was something? Remember how they analyzed how he drinks water out of a bottle and suggested that he didn't have any functioning motor skills, right? And that he needed cognitive tests. Do you remember the endless hours that we wasted on Donald Trump's inability to carry out the duties of the president of the United States? And now with this guy, we get nothing. We get this.
I did not pay their dues. He'd encourage Russia to, quote, do whatever the hell they want. I guess I should clear my mind here a little bit and not say what I'm really thinking.
His brain is broken. And it has nothing to do with his age. And it has nothing to do with what kind of shoes he's wearing. And if you don't believe me, believe the document filed with a federal court by U.S. Attorney Robert Hur, who said after analyzing his behavior with classified documents, they recognize that he broke the law, but they're not going to take him to trial because no jury in the world would convict a senile, friendly old man like this, especially a D.C. jury, because the jury pool is weighted in the favor of Democrats. Boy, oh boy, this is the face that is being shown right now to the people of the world. This is the face of American strength and power. And you wonder why in just the last 3 years we've had wars breaking out in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East. You wonder why our enemies are testing us on a daily basis. Yeah, a good president can make a country great. A bad president can destroy a country very quickly.